Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a DbD discussion video. This one comes from maybe a pinch of salt, but the realization that I was spending far too long trying to make something work for no good reason. And, well, I've already talked about how that's singularity to extent. Let's talk about the perk that it involves. It was Hex 2 can play. Now, why do I have singularity on the screen if this is a Chucky perk? Well, I feel everything on this screen right now, 2 from Chucky, 2 from Singularity, some rather recent releases, and Singularity himself, being examples of things getting released far too safe. Now, mind you, one of these did get changed back to, well, I guess unchanged back to, I don't know, PBE, and then they were too cautious, and then now we're back to what it was in a PBE for something that's still mediocre. But all of this is why, right? Like, why am I doing all of this to be undetectable and gain haste for half a minute? There's a lot of things in DbD that would be significantly better with just one less or even one more bit of something. A lot of things feel underwhelming, and that's why you see a lot of the same things. People talk about how they're tired of seeing Chucky now, and that's okay, I understand why. And admittedly, Scamper isn't as too safe as everything else that this video will be, and same with Ultimate Weapon from Zeno. But if those are one perk and one ability, and one part of an ability rather, why do you think that you see them so often? Now, mind you, are they good? Scamper's good, Ultimate Weapon is good. But I truly do believe you'd see a lot more things if too many things weren't as safe as they are. So I wanted to talk about a few of them and tell me if you have one that you feel is just far too safe in its current state. And yeah, let's go through it. There's also the fact that if you're here and you're waiting for me to go to the Survivor side, I don't main Survivor. I have my own grievances with that side when, like, going against it. And I feel that there are things that are far too unsafe and far too safe there. But it would be dishonest for me to go over on that side and talk about it when I spend a lot more time on this side. So you can drop those down below if you want to as well. I just felt like I'm not nearly as qualified to talk about them to the extent as I can with these. So kicking it off, I should start with the one that took me all day, but I want to talk about one that took me in almost an entire patch. Machine learning was one that I was working on getting massive value for a long time. Every time I was like, well, what if I just, make it so that we get some value out of machine learning? Undetectable and the haste is good. That's two good things. But you have to kick a gen, kick another gen to activate it, and then you have to let that gen get done to then have haste and undetectable for half a minute. You've let 1/5 of the game slip by just to be undetectable and a little bit faster for half a minute while kicking it twice. So surely this can be fixed easily by, hey, just make it kind of like Trail of Torment. Make it so that if you kick a gen and it gets done, then you get the effect instead of needing to kick and then kick again. This was funny because I was watching another content creator try to get value out of this and it just wasn't working. And I don't mean like when it released, I mean recently because somebody asked them to. But man, this purchase is not worth it, like at all. And I've made videos about perks that aren't worth it because of what you get from them when they go off. Like Dark Devotion was one that I've talked about kind of extensively. I'm sorry, not Dark Devotion, Furtive Chase. Where it's just like, okay, I've hooked the person, now I'm undetectable and hasty for 18 seconds. Still an odd number, but at least it immediately happens. Why am I going out of my way to get this? I can just run Trail of Torment. And sure, I don't get that 10% haste, but I also don't have a gen getting done, right? Then we go over to Toucan Play, the thing that drove me off of the edge today. I was just running in the pallets to get people to, of course, stun me so they can be blinded for the funny ha-has, and I was doing things, and yes, I was using it on Singularity for a bit, as well as others. And man, ever since its release, I don't think I've seen somebody get significant value from it, and I don't know what it is exactly. Is it the fact that it takes too long for you to get stunned twice? Odd thing to say, because some survivors will waste no time to drop a pallet on your face. And then there's also some that will get scared and throw it a mile away. That definitely happened today, where somebody, I don't know, they were easily spooked. I hit them, and their reaction was to throw a pallet even though they were 5 meters away from me. Or, I guess that doesn't sound like too much, but like, they were like the courtyard away from me. And it's just like, well, I guess I'm not getting that pallet value. And then also for this, I have to be getting stunned or blinded, which means I'm getting my own time wasted, right? Yeah, I can throw an Enduring to make it last a little bit less, right? Like, I can throw on something like that and try to get value out of that way. But then I had somebody that, I don't know, I guess they're just used to being blinded on Survivor, because it didn't affect them like at all. I'm getting stunned and they are still perfectly pathing away. And last time I checked, there isn't a cheat for that. They were just that good. They were like, well, I know I just need to run to the right. And, you know, surprisingly, out of all the times, as in everybody, we've all played Survivor at least once, hopefully. And you get hit by the bad guy, and then you ended up getting stuck because of your speed boost into a wall or something. Person was unfazed. And then the second person was just unfazed by this. So I don't know how long you need to make the 1.5 seconds of blind right now. Like, I don't know if it needs to go up to 2 or 3 to get any value, or if it needs to activate after 1. Like, we have a perk that if you get stunned in any way, which includes being blinded, right, they are insta-downable for, admittedly not too long, but I can put them down instead of just watching them be mildly inconvenienced for less than a tenth of this, right? Like, there's active danger with this, and if I got stunned, there means that there's something in my way blocking my access to the survivor, which is why this already has felt too short. So why this? And I'm not going to say that you need to give it 5 seconds or something like that, because that would be ridiculous. Like, you would nullify all of their running away potential. But what do you do to fix this? Does it proc on every time and blind for 2 seconds? That seems like a lot. And the thing that helps this is that you can have it come back. Last time I checked and during the testing, this one doesn't activate like Face the Darkness, where if you cleanse it, it's gone for the rest of the match. You get to just get another one of these. I don't know what you can do to fix this. Quite frankly, it just feels like it was a fun gimmick, but it will never be fun because it will never happen in a way that you want it to. You might be like, okay, so you tried it on Singularity. Surely there's somebody better than just somebody that can teleport to the other side of a pallet to get value from it, right? Surely there's somebody else. I tried it on Pyramid Head, who, if you don't know, you can drop a pallet, and with Enduring, you can probably proc your M2 fast enough before they realize what's going on. Yeah, just mildly inconvenienced at best, and guess what? If you run in a decent enough direction, because there's nothing immediately blocking your way, you can still whiff, and again, I don't think I saw anybody actively inconvenienced by this in an entire time of testing. Like, this needs help. Then we go to Batteries Included, which no longer is too safe, but I wanted to throw in here because how did Chucky, whose power is not too safe, end up with two teachables that were at one point? This one had the fact that at the end game it no longer works because, oh, all the generators are done. But, like, I have to be within 12 meters of a completed gen for 5% haste. There's hope that is just permanently on, and I'm already having no add, right? Which is on as long as the hex is up. And they go, well, we were worried about you using it in combination with no add. But nobody was concerned about the combination of made for this, hope, adrenaline. Like, you're just faster at all stages of it for free. And before you get to the us versus them, this isn't what this is. This isn't what there's going to be, so don't get to typing in the comment section. Yeah, they get all the fun. I don't care. I'm just simply stating it makes no sense that we did this given the constraints that it requires. And I know people were mad at me when I first made the video about this perk because I was like, oh, you know, they're finally taking things into consideration of, like, baby proofing some things that could be very upsetting. But then I realized in the follow-up video, or towards the end of that video, can't remember which, that was a while ago, but the thing that made me more upset about its existence is that you put this restriction in, and it clearly showed that you still don't know how to measure for verticality in this game. You say on indoor maps this can become a problem, so you're telling me you still haven't found out how to make it only work, or make anything work per floor besides Skull Merchant's drones? Like, if that was the problem, easy. Just make it so that it's on all the time, and cool. Through a hallway on Midwich, I get burst of it, and then I go as long as I'm on one floor. But if you're telling me that it's a problem because it activates through both, that sounds like the fact that it operates through both is the problem, not because it's the end game with all the generators done, right? So, I'm glad they took the restriction off, but I'm still now concerned overall. Then we have Forced Hesitation, another one from Singularity, which I was actually in a Discord call for the True Neoteric's birthday. Wish him happy belated if you see him in the comments. And we were talking about this perk and how, frankly, you just don't get value from it. Now, mind you, one individual said that they get value from it. They play Oni. And I think that even if you're playing Oni, you would be better off just not using this perk a lot of the time. I've done a funny haha with it with Knight, who is disabled, I guess, forever. I've gotten value with it from Knight because the guards then are able to catch up to the speed. But then they also released MFT, so then it kind of nullified that to an extent. And there's just a very weird tug of war on that. So I guess when Knight comes back, and I'll try it again to see if Forced Hesitation is the smooth. But out of my games today, I've also realized people are very fine with leaving their team. They finally learned the lesson of just letting your teammate be on the hook for a while. It was very odd how my games were going today, and I'm not saying that I was camping for any reason. I really don't care about that. I just wanted to get some value out of this, so clearly I was like, well, let's go to the next chase. But not only has everybody gone to true stealth builds, they're letting their friends just be on the hook. Which, you wonder, what does this have to do with forced hesitation? Well, quite frankly, if nobody's around when you put somebody down, you're not getting any value out of this. Especially if they weren't coming for them within 16 meters. Do I think that this can get bumped to like a 32? I don't know. I think that might be insane. But maybe a 24. And I don't think the Hendrick needs to last longer or be greater? Stronger? Yeah, I don't think the Hendrick needs to be stronger. But the range on this, in combination with having a cooldown, I don't know. If anything, I would like to see this do the one perk where you vault back and forth, cut loose. I'd like to see this in a cut loose fashion where you have a timer to extend the timer of activation again. I think that'd be very cool for forced hesitation. But, now mind you, you go, okay, you've talked about these four. Is that it? No, of course not. Of course that's not it. I want to talk about Game of Foot too, which, in combination with this other one, it's weird because they released these two safe, and then released better versions of them. With Game of Foot, you need to be chasing your obsession for this to activate. Then you need to break something to get haste for 10 seconds, and it's only 5% haste. Then they make Rapid Brutality, which, if you just hit somebody with a basic, you get the value from it. Now mind you, it comes at a severe cost that you no longer have access to Bloodlust, which I still think is a bit egregious, because it only lasts for 10 seconds. So I don't know. I mean, I still don't think that this perk is nearly as good as some people. I think people have woken up that it's not that great. But man, people were really on that copium that this was, one, a good perk for the bad guys, and two, needed to go in every build for the bad guys. People were riding this copium high. So, you know, it's strange for them to make this, not fix this, and instead go, hey, what if we did a pro gamer move and released a better one? Like, under no circumstance am I using it for the haste. I'm still just using it to switch obsession. And even then, I need to use a basic attack on the person I've been chasing the longest. Goodness, this is a lot for a little. You remember when I said that about you, bud? I still believe it, but hey, goodness, why? And then we have Septic Touch, another one that clearly could have just been fixed. But instead, they make another thing for Singularity. Will you look at that? It's almost like I really don't like that chapter, which is odd because I don't have any grievances with it besides MFT, but here we go. Now you go. They fulfill a purpose at separate times. Yes and no. You have to interrupt the healing to get the blindness and the exhaustion off, and then it only lingers for 10 seconds. At that point, just let the heal go through and they won't have it for the next 32. And mind you, they won't be blind. But man, that's a mild inconvenience for you to have perfect timing. And then you go, well, just slap them together. But why? Why would I do all of that? What do I get out of that? Then I'm just eating my own perks. If I do have both. Because if I interrupt them, they're only inconvenienced for 10 seconds. So I'm better off letting them just have the heal to inconvenience them for half a minute. Like, my goodness, this is just so perplexing. But, oh no, of course the list of my rants gets worse. Because there's another one that, much like letting gens fly, you have to go out of your way to be a good guy. But where are we? Where are you? Yeah, I could use the search bar, but I'm hard-headed and we're already this far in. There we go, you were in my face the entire time. Grim Embrace. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, a fair amount of people have come to, the talking point, like, what if we just incentivize bad guys for not tunneling by putting this into the game somehow, some way? I need to hook everybody for the first time to get all the tokens, to block all the gens for 40 seconds, not even a full minute, and see the obsession for 6 of those. Are you kidding me? Like, don't get me wrong, that is a strong effect. If you can just lock people out of gens, but at least make it a minute, because I've wasted over a minute of the game. Now, mind you, you are working towards your end goal with this. But my end goal could be achieved faster by not going out of my way to activate this. I've talked about how this is a fun challenge to give yourself. But man, everybody's feeling a little bit more efficient. And I shouldn't say everybody, because I've definitely, like I said, when I have people dropping pallets a mile away, I know where that lies back, and I believe that they reverted the MMR changes where people were being insane when you had insane hours yourself. So, that isn't the extent to what it is. But this is one of those sad perks in which it does nothing against a good team and is okay against a bad one. Like a team that was already doing poor, yeah, this is going to keep them from flipping the tide of the game. But if they were doing bad, what was this doing for me anyway? This is a win more perk, and win more perks don't really help too often if you don't make it so that it's not only a win more, but winnable perk. And how do you do that? How do you generate those? Oh, that's careful balancing. Like something like Devour, it doesn't have the restriction of it being on each individual survivor. Now, mind you, at 5 tokens, you've probably hit at least, at minimum, and for the unhooks, you had to get 3 people. Because in those third hooks, people did fly, they're out of the game. So you had to get at least 3 people to be able to take people out of the game, which is fine. So does the requirement for Grim Embrace need to go down, where it activates on 3 and lasts for a minute? Maybe. Does it go to hook stages, where you get stacks for people achieving different stages? I don't know, because I think that then you just encourage tunneling again. But it's a lot for a little with Grim Embrace. But of course, let's talk about another gen thing that I've never stopped hearing about. Oppression. It's really weird to say that oppression isn't strong enough. Oppression is a perk that, to the uneducated, let's say that, they genuinely go, I don't understand why oppression isn't used. It seems so good. And then I wonder if they played the game for longer than the intro. Oppression is a perk in which you damage a gen, and 3 other random gens will regress. They don't take on regression perks, they just do normal base regression. And if somebody's on them, they get a difficult skill check, in which if they don't hit it, then you just know that they're over there. And this has a cooldown of over a minute. 80 seconds. This is a perk that's been far too safe for far too long. I understand there's danger with buffing gen kick perks, But surely you give it a different activation requirement. Make it like Pop, where every time you hook somebody, you can use it. Make it have a cooldown of literally like 1/4 of the time. Like, are we serious where we have things like this that have been in the game for so long and still untouched? And then I want to end this off with a perk that has been touched but has been in the game for super long. Territorial Imperative. Oh man. Unlock potential in one's aura reading ability. Survivors' auras are revealed to you for 6 seconds. When they enter the basement and you are more than 24 meters away from the basement entrance, and this only happens every 45 seconds. Holy crap. I don't think there's a thing in the world you can do at this point to make this better besides just making it a general perk and removing the cooldown. And you just need to remove all of it, quite frankly, because they tried to make something basement perky. Well, okay, this one isn't as bad, but like just perk in general, a little less bad by letting you see around these things, right? Like the ones that let you see around specific things still aren't good. Like, have you seen a single person, except for maybe me, if you've gotten me in your games, use Scorchhook Hangman's trick since it's changed? Where now, it will show you where people are around a Scorchhook within 12 meters. I also don't know what's up with them in 12. Like, actually, I almost made a joke, but I don't know what's up with them in 12. But if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Batteries included. What's up with them in the number 12? I don't understand. But Territorial Imperative, just let it activate like Undying. If they're in the basement, you see them. Like, that's it. That's all. And I understand it's supposed to give them some time to, if they are going for a rescue in basement, they should have some time to not feel that pressure. But this goes off the second that they enter the basement. So like, what? Like, what if? And then what if they're hiding in the basement? I have territorial. I should be rewarded for having this extremely niche scenario. I've wasted a slot to know if somebody has walked downstairs. Like, do we understand how ridiculous that is? Man, oh man. And it's weird because I truly didn't think that there were any things to talk about in DbD. I've been kind of just out of sorts on discussion regarding things that can be fixed on this game, and I've seen how people are treating one another over such topics for no reason. Really, like it's not that big of a deal where people need to go attacking others. And people have been very passionate about this game lately. And I don't know why. Like, I'm not going to tell you to stop being passionate about things, but you can stand to be kinder about your passion. So, yeah. After a day of trying to make this stupid perk work, that's why we have this video with us. So yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.